And Michael Waltz sits on many committees regarding national security. A lot to go through with you, and good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here in person. Nice to see you.
Sir.
Are we getting better at stopping this stuff? Because it doesn't look like it.
Well, we should be getting a lot better on the government side. What has me so concerned about this hack was the penetration of some of our research labs, the Department of Energy, and others. I don't think we have a full damage assessment yet. The difficulty is with your smaller mom and pops that may have some critical technology, but they're just trying to grow their business. So to have this full cyber infrastructure. So how does the government help with resources to these small startups that may have critical technologies our adversaries want? And what we're seeing with both the Russians and Chinese is they are leveraging and they are putting fuel on the fire of these quasi-private hacking groups. This is economic warfare from our adversaries on our economy, on our infrastructure, and often they're then also using it to gain market share for their companies in the same spaces. And that's just something we're not organized as a society and government with our walls between government and private sector that we're struggling to deal with.
Sometimes they're looking for information, sometimes it's extortion, sometimes it's both. Go ahead, Dave.
But I thought the Biden administration asked Russia not to do this.
They did, right? Remember the Colonial Pipeline hack that shut down gas supplies to the entire East Coast? What happened? Russia gets rewarded with a summit that they use for their own internal propaganda. And then you get a list of things not to do, a mother may I, from the President of the United States on the international stage.
So that didn't work?
Not so much, yeah.
China. It's a big meeting. Who knows what comes of it? Wall Street Journal says zombie engagement with Beijing. Interesting twist here.
Yeah.
The Biden administration seems determined to revive an approach to China that has failed for 30 years. Are they going to do something different than Trump did?
It's actually a great op-ed from Representative Mike Gallagher, the chairman of our China Select Committee. I recommend everyone read it, because really what he's talking about with the zombie engagement is this. If we only just engage with China enough, if we only just get them to the table, the bad behavior will stop. If we couple with them economically, it'll change them politically. We thought that thinking was dead. She killed it, in my view, and I think Rep. Gallagher's view, a long time ago. But here we have our Secretary of the State on the international stage after harassing our ships, harassing our planes, literally breaking into military bases in Alaska, the spy balloon, and now the revelation of a spy base right on our shores in Cuba. And yet they get rewarded once again with, and I have to tell you, particularly in Asian culture, but on the international stage, him coming to them on their turf is a sign of deference, is a loss of face for us. And at what point do we take a tough stand and say you don't get a meeting until this bad behavior stops, and we put conditions on our diplomacy?
Two things that Anthony Blinken is sure to maybe not bring up. One would be on COVID. We had a report this week by Michael Schellenberger. He broke the story that there are three whistleblowers who say that there were three people, the first people that ever got COVID,
That's right.
worked in the lab, and then they left the lab, and that's what happened to the world. And China rejects that, but we have 7 million people around the world dead. Lives changed, inflation, so much changed. And don't the American people deserve some sort of show that the Americans are going to say, that their leadership will say, we know what happened, and we're on to you?
And here's how we're going to hold you accountable as an international community, right? But instead, you're absolutely right, Dana. What isn't brought up is almost as important as what is. And the fact that we're just sweeping that under the rug, I would say, largely for political reasons back home, is a real disservice to all of us.
We'll see what comes of this, because the expectations have set very.
He shouldn't be going on this
Bill
trip.
Gates beat Anthony Blinken to Xi Jinping this week. That's extraordinary. On Iran, is the administration ready to do a deal?
It looks like they're doing a non-deal deal, and that they didn't want this out in the public space. I have to tell you guys, if I was just in Israel with Prime Minister Netanyahu, the Israelis are making it clear that they will act unilaterally. They have to act unilaterally, and they now have the military capabilities to do so. I think the only thing that deters Iran at this point is a credible threat of force. But giving them and releasing billions, $3 billion in a waiver through Iraq, potentially $7 billion in a waiver. These are frozen funds through South Korea. is only going to pour fuel on the fire to all of their bad activity. It's Iran deal 3.0.
But don't they have to come to Congress?
They're trying to find a loophole through an act that was passed in 2015 that it has to come before the Congress. And that's going to be a real fight ahead of us.
I recommend people listen to the commentary podcast from yesterday. One of the things they said is that this deal would allow the Iranians to freeze their enrichment at 60%.
60%.
In the Obama administration, when they said it was catastrophic that we had to make this deal because they were at 20%.
Right.
Now we're going to make a deal at 60?
And at 90, you've got what you need for a bomb. All they have to do is weaponize it, miniaturize it, put it on a warhead.
Will Congress
and
demand
if that happens,
something?
the Saudis are going to get their bomb, the Turks. I mean, you're going to have an arms race explosion in the Middle East, and that should scare all of us.
Do you think Congress will
Absolutely,
demand
we're
they do
going to demand.
something?
Yeah.